working on our final copy of the frog. We're going to put gradient shading on this frog. If you do not have a copy of your frog with layers to work on, I've uploaded a copy of my Photoshop frog with layers to Google Classroom, and you can simply download it and work on it there. So we're going to take the gradient tool to lend this frog a sense of dimension. We are going to start with the chest first. I'm going to make a new layer, create a clipping mask. I'm going to come to my picker tool and I'm going to set my shading color and come over to my gradient. Remember, your gradient needs to be set to basics with the transparent gradient. I would set the opacity to 100% and make sure you're clicked on this the second modality. It's like the pin light modality, so you get a sense of dimension. Now for this one, I'm going to have the light come from the right. So my shading is going to be on this side this time. We're just going to change it up a little bit. So I'm going to take my gradient tool and I'm going to simply start building that shading along the outer edge here. And if I want to bring a little bit of highlight, oops, I need to erase that first. I grab this. So let me just erase that for you all. Okay, and try this again, and I'm going to go a little bit of a highlight right here if I want. Okay, now I could come in here and build up my shading a little bit more right in here. Okay, and I think that looks pretty good. So now I'm going to go to my front legs or arms. I will start with the left and I'm going to make another clipping mask, and I'm going to pick up this red and then go deeper, and I'm going to just simply build up my shadows a little bit and then come for my lighter area right there. And then I'm going to go to the right and do the same thing. Of course, you can always make multiple clipping masks for your shading, and you can also play with the opacities. Here it's going to catch a lot more light, so I'm just going to use that same color and really lighten it up here and then darken it down here. Okay, so I'm really making sure my shading is consistent. And then here are the right leg details. I'm just moving up through my layers. Create clipping mask. I'm going to come back to my picker tool and grab these. And just, these really might just always need the shading on these. There we go. That's a little bit. I can go a little darker maybe. There. Now, for your bunny, you will probably mix your shading with the gradient with your cell shading, because doing all gradient, as you're going to find out, can sometimes look a little cheesy. So just be aware that we're going to mix these two shading styles together in the end. Okay, so the light's coming here. So this back leg will catch, we'll do the back legs left. I'm going to go up to the nose, create clipping mask, and grab this color, and I'm going to let it get way brighter up here because it's the highest point, so it's going to catch a lot of light. I'm going to come here, and I'm going to blend this area here, so then I would come back down my right leg and bring some of that there. Now we have a nice smooth transition. And then I want to pick up some of the color over here And I'm going to come to back to my nose layer. So always making sure you're on the right. I'm going to blend these two together there. And maybe I'll put a little bit of, I could fade that, edit, fade gradient. So if you do a gradient that's just too heavy, you can use your fade tool a little bit. Now fade it again. You can fade it up under edit. And that's just for the last action you did. Kind of like that, maybe. I'm just playing with color now, really thinking about like what's gonna look best for mine. There. And now we get to do the eyes, eyelids. Again, remembering where my light's coming from and lightening up those parts, and then kind of just putting a little bit of shading in the corners there. And then this one is going to get a little darker there. Build it up there. All right, final part, back legs. Create clipping mask. Now it's going to be lighter on this side. I'm going to go really dark here and then light. So that's going to catch a lot of light there, but that foot's going to fall into shadow because it's kind of under. And then this leg is going to be mostly in dark with like just a tiny bit of light hitting right there. All right, so this was shading with the gradient, and I hope you find good balance between these two shading techniques and your bunny, using cell shading in some areas and gradients in others, and blending and mixing them together with clipping masks. And I'm excited to see how they turn out in the end.